Max 93.1, the Islands Rock. It is Wednesday, which means it is time for our Wednesday wraparound with the Charlottetown Islanders. This week, joining me, voice of the Islanders, George Matthews. How are you, George?
Lee, of course, as always, and I open up, and many of the hockey fans around PEI, they know you as being part of the entertaining package and of the Eastlink Center in Charlottetown. You're a big booster of the Charlottetown Islanders as well, so we sort of put the handle on you, the leading entertainer.
Love it.
Ruby, so it's always great to be on with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. And the feeling is beyond mutual. I love listening to your call. Fortunately, a lot of the times I'm at the games, so I don't get to hear you. I get to watch you from a distance, but our Max 93.1 listeners obviously loving the call, and the team has been on 6 wins in the last 7 games. What have you really liked? I mean, it's been great since 2025, but even in the last 10 or 12 games, what have you liked as well, George?
Well, you know what? I don't know whether you can take it just strictly down to the last 4 or 5 or 7 games. I think it's this stretch that you just talked about as far as here in 2025, where the team is 14-4 since January the 1st. And, you know, Lee, when we go back, and you and I, we started doing these segments earlier on, and the team was 2-11-2 after the first 15 games. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to be 9 games under 500.
Yeah.
At the 15-game mark and have any expectations for your season. But they have turned it around, and firstly, you have to give full credit to Jim Holton. I know when we do the coaches' interviews and things like that, you know, he was positive, and I'm saying, my goodness, 9 games under 500. Coaching staff to stay focused and committed on the season, but he did that, and he's hauled all of his team into the fray here. And all of a sudden, you know, they are a very competitive team in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. And they've done it both on the road, at home. At home, they've won 8 of 10. On the road, they've won 11 of 17. And, you know, I think it's just a combination of, when you look at the goaltending, it's been there all season long, Lee. And, you know, Rucha, Hickey, they've got terrific records right now, but they played well right out of the get-go. They're playing their best hockey of the season right now. The blue line, Marcus Kiersey was coming along before he was hurt, but, you know, they've got some, I wouldn't say young veteran experience, but when you take a look at Owen Conrad, his game has really headed north here offensively post-Christmas, where he's got points in 8 straight, 11 points, 3 and 8 over that span. So he's been a bit of a backfill for Marcus Kiersey. But Kiersey, his game was coming along. You've got Zach Plomenon, Boyega, all these youngsters at 17 years of age starting to get comfortable in their major junior careers. And the nice thing is this blue line has the long-lasting effect here, at least in major junior. Anything 3 years is long-lasting. And for this blue line, there's a lot of 17-year-old content on it here right now, and more coming along the way as well. So, I mean, you have that, and then you talk about, well, the offensive part of the game. At one point, this team was last in the league in goals for, and it's moved its way up to 11th overall since the beginning of January. But and it's a nice storyline too, because you have your key pieces in Matty Butler and Ross Campbell, who have been lights out.
Yes,
offensively, just you know, averaging probably over long stretches of 10 or 12 games. 1.5 points a game. That's not easy to do.
No, not at all.
18-year-old in this league. And you have that. You have Simon Hughes coming back onto the roster Christmas time with Igor Goryanov, the other 20 being traded away for some good pieces and draft capital as well. But then you have you know, some of the depth that was acquired just at Christmas time. Seymour, Shimmick, Montroy, across the top, Lanza on the blue line. You know, not big pieces and not game stars at this particular point, but they've added some depth scoring-wise to the roster. Johnny Lanza has quietly made himself a plus defenseman here with the Charlottetown Islanders with his ice time. Then you got Leak and Powers and players like that who have been pretty strong, you know, most of the season. Nobody was really great at the start, obviously, when you're 2-11-2, but they've continued to grow their game, and it's certainly, again, like others, they're playing their best hockey of the season. So you've got high-end scoring on this team, and Butler and Campbell. You've got depth scoring, and you've got the blue line maturing, especially the 17-year-olds. The goaltending has been there all season long, and all of a sudden, you're going through the front door. This club is playing teams, and they're beating, they're beating Moncton, they're beating Rimouski, they're beating Bay Camo, Rouen Noranda. These are all the top teams in the league. Now, we're far from a powerhouse, but at the same time, this team, under the guidance of Jim Holton and his coaching staff, have positioned the team, got their focus into a winning program, and they're a very competitive team here in the Q.
And I'm loving that too. It's everyone's playing as their role, not trying to wear bigger boots than they need or bigger skates in those cases. Before I let you go there, George, we're just going to look into on the road for a couple of quick games with Halifax and Cape Breton starting on the 21st and the 23rd. Are you thinking just keep the course is what they need to be doing to try to get hopefully a split, but we were hoping they can walk away with two, eh?
Well, you know what I mean. They've got they've really had the number of Cape Breton. Cape Breton was supposed to be a pretty big piece this year, and they're a good hockey club, and they might do some damage come playoff time as well. But I think the Islanders, they've got about 5 wins, I think, against Cape Breton this season. Maybe 5-2. I'm just doing that off the top of my head. They've had a real good record against Cape Breton and against Halifax as well. Halifax it's a closer season series. You've got Halifax with really good goaltending right now. And so we'll see with Steinman being in there. And that trade is certainly between Halifax and Moncton. It's caused both fan bases to be a little irate at times. It hasn't worked out as well for Moncton. And Halifax is probably, their hardcore fans were trying to slip down the standings for a draft pick. And that hasn't worked out as well because they've got really good goaltending. So that could be, it could be an interesting road trip for Charlottetown. The Islanders have certainly played well, as I said, winning 11 of their last 17 on the road, so they're 11-6. So they're competing everywhere. They looked tired the other day against the Acadie Bathurst Titan in back-to-backs, and they've run into some injuries. With Marcus Kiersey, he's a loss. He will be back supposedly just prior to the playoffs. He might get a couple of games in at that particular point. So, if they can continue to stay healthy, and move towards focusing on the playoffs, I think it's going to be an interesting opening round here on PEI.
No, that is great. Well, we appreciate your time this morning, George, and look forward to hearing the call as we get ready to get some back-to-backs before they head back to the East Link Center on the 28th.
Well, you know what? Here in PEI, come playoff time, the fans come out in droves as long as their team has a chance to compete. And I think it's going to be a really good opening round for the Charlottetown Islanders. They haven't won a playoff game lead since you arrived on PEI.
Oh, geez. I hope I'm not
sure.
I hope I'm not the bad luck charm here.
I just thought of that, though. But no, and you're not the bad luck charm. But anyway, Let's hope that they get a playoff win at home plus for Lee Ruby.
Oh, I appreciate it, George. Well, you have best of luck on the next calls, and I look forward to sitting down with you again.
Okay, Lee. Take care.